So here's the video analysis of Celeste and our model pitcher, another lefty. So let's start with the model and have her do her drive forward. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you get a good drive off that rubber, and you do that by having a good knee bend here to really drive forward and fly off this rubber. So she's getting some momentum here where she's going to start driving forward, and you can see how deep that knee bend is and how far she's leaning before she explodes towards home plate. So let's just move Celeste forward. So she's starting to get a knee bend, and it's a little hard on the gym floor because your feet slide a bit, so her foot slightly slides forward here as she's going to pitch. But when you're pitching in the real game with cleats and the rubber, that's going to be avoided. So you can see that she actually has a fairly nice lean and a good knee bend, and she's been taught this so that she can really drive straight towards home plate. We'll watch our model go forward here. So as they fly towards home plate, I want their momentum really pushing forward and in a line essentially right towards home plate, so your arms aren't flying out on either direction. It's a big push straight towards home plate. So let's watch Celeste go. So she does her nice drive, and that's a pretty good amount of momentum that she's generating. You can see that she gets quite a bit of distance from her release point to where she's going to land. So for the first part here, Celeste does very well with getting that forward momentum, and she needs to because she's a smaller girl, so she needs to generate as much momentum towards home as she can. And as our model goes along, what you want is the pitching arm to be coming around and the glove arm to be out, and the idea is they're both going to come down and meet at the hips at the same time, so that they act almost like the flapping of wings of a bird, so that you have some weight coming back and some forward momentum coming forward, and all the energy is released in the ball, and you kind of remain stationary at the end. And you can see that the hips of her are nice and open, so she's going to be bringing her arm straight across the front of her thigh here, and a nice, not a stiff arm, a relaxed arm, so that we can see that elbow slightly leading the pitch. So as I move her forward, you can see that the timing here is quite nice. Her glove is here and the ball is here. And if I had if this is a high-res camera, you wouldn't get this frame distortion, but you can see that the elbow is coming ahead of the ball, which is nice. And even there, that shot there, you can see how our elbow here is still ahead of the ball, and that's going to create that nice whipping action. And the hands are coming together at the same time. So let's watch Celeste go. And so things sort of break down for Celeste a little bit. There's a really nice drive forward. You can see that she's actually, from the point that she's actually left the rubber, she's landing or dragging her foot to here, and she's all the way out here for this. That's a really good push, but you can see that this arm's slightly kind of out of alignment a little bit, and let's just move her forward slightly. The hand is a little lower than where the ball is, so they're not coming together kind of the same time. And you could even see here that if she had some, like a t-shirt on, you could see it a little bit better, but you can see that her arm is slightly locked. So the elbow isn't leading the ball like it should be. So you lose a lot of whipping action. And with that action, it does something. It actually makes you kind of lean forward a bit when you pitch, when you have a locked arm, and you lose a little bit of momentum. But this position looks pretty good at this point. It looks much like the models. If we move her to release point, she looks very, very similar. Let's watch the model go a little bit further now. So she's going to drag this foot, bring these thighs hard together and finish with the legs coming together and the foot dragging after release. And you can see how as she's doing that, that foot is at a 45-degree angle here that she's landed on, and she's in really a nice line, vertical stacking here of her feet and her hips and her shoulder, all kind of on top of each other. And with Celeste, you can see her foot is a little bit too much at a 90-degree angle. It should be more angled there. And you can see that as she's released, because that arm was a little bit locked, it's generated this action instead of a nice vertical line up like that. So she ends up bending slightly. So if she can remember to keep that elbow coming forward and really whipping that arm, I think that this action of leaning over will kind of dissipate. And then as she finishes. So that's a hard problem to fix that she has to do, but she has to really work on snapping that elbow and making sure that she's not leaning forward as she releases. So there's a bunch of drills that she'll need to do to work on in order to do that, and then your speed will increase and you'll get more rotation on your ball, and things will mechanically get better in your pitch, and your overall pitching will improve. Okay, so that's Celeste's analysis.